All right, guys. Thank you so much for being our guests tonight, Chad and Jaree. Thank you again for doing this Zoom for us tonight. I was really excited when I saw you guys up on one of the Zooms to win for Denise's, the Africa trip. So thank you so much for coming on tonight and pouring into my team. You guys, this couple is amazing. I've never met them before. But you know what? You guys all know my story. I mean, you guys don't know my story, but my team does. The very first conference I went to, I just joined in January 2015, and I went all by myself, and I sat like in the back, and you guys went up on stage, and hearing your stories gave me goosebumps. And so you guys have been one of my big inspirations in the business, because I love how, you just totally turned your life around, and I'm excited for you to share your story with us.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I love that this business gives us a platform that we can share our struggle and where we came from and inspire people. That's exactly what happened to me whenever I first found this company. Chad was in the military and I was a stay-at-home homeschooling mama. And let me just back up before that. Okay, so I just want to kind of build onto this for you, because I am not someone who was handed everything on a silver platter. My parents got divorced when I was little. I was sexually abused as a child. I dated the wrong kind of guys starting in junior high that were controlling and just idiots. And I turned to drugs and alcohol in my early 20s to medicate my painful past. And I'm telling you this because this is part of my story and where God's taking me, and then now he's using It Works as a vehicle for us. But so I had all of those things, not to mention I dropped out of high school because I have a learning disability. Okay, so high school dropout, I never thought I would really amount to much of anything. I squeaked by and got my GED, went to beauty school, loved doing hair because it was hands-on. But because of my drug use and because I was still trying to numb out and not remember all the things that had happened to me, I was doing so many drugs that I actually caused a drug-induced seizures to come on, where I was just randomly having seizures. I could have them when I was driving. I could have them in the salon. And so I had to step down from doing hair, and I lost my license for a time because they were scared. It wasn't safe for me to drive. So I'm telling you all this because that was way prior to Chad and I meeting, but I just want you to understand that anybody can do this, and that you don't have to have a certain set of skills or even a high school diploma to be successful in this business. So let's see, 5 years ago, I found this business. At that time, Chad was in the Army. I was a stay-at-home mom. We had our 3 babies. My youngest, Elijah, is autistic, and he was in diapers at the time, and all he knew how to do then was scream. Like I said, Chad was an officer in the Army, so he was gone all the time. And so we were an extremely busy family, but we were also very much living paycheck to paycheck, and we were kind of broke. We were in the hole. We were drowning in student loan and credit card debt. And whenever I found It Works, it was kind of by chance. I thought maybe I would start doing hair again, maybe out of my home, just to bring in some extra income, because I didn't want to give up being there with my kids, and I didn't want to give up homeschooling them. That was something that was really near and dear to me, and something the Lord had really put on my heart to do. So I wasn't looking for network marketing. Matter of fact, Chad was in several different companies while we were together, and all of them took him away from us, and it didn't pay us a thing. And I was like, if you join another one of these stupid network marketing companies, we're going to have to go to marriage counseling because I can't do this anymore. So when I found that It Works, it just so happened one of my best friends had tried a wrap. She had great results. I was a skeptic because I am a hairdresser, and we did weight loss wraps in the salon, but they were always water loss wraps. So I assumed, like a lot of you and probably like a lot of your customers, that this was a water loss wrap. And so I was like, it's not going to work. It's a scam. But since my best friend tried it and got results, I was like, whatever, I'll try it. And I'm going to prove to you that it really doesn't work. And so I got a wrap. So I just don't want you to give up on those people. Keep that in mind when you're dealing with those nasty skeptics, because I was one of those. But here's the big kicker. I put the wrap on. This is why it's so important for you to get the wrap on people, because I put the wrap on and went from huge skeptic, going to debunk the company for being a huge fraud, to holy crap, this product actually works. And it's not water weight, because I had to drink water, and I was like, oh my gosh, Sign me up. I can market this to my friends because I had fallen in love with the wraps instantly. Within 45 minutes, I was now obsessed. And I'm just like, okay, all my friends are going to want to try this. Surely I can sell enough of these to them so that I can get my product for free. So even at that time in the beginning, I still didn't think I was going to make any money with it. I was just hoping to break even for the free product. Well, as I started talking to my friends, I was like, holy crap, they want the product. And so I immediately made my first goal to make an extra $300 to $500 a month. And I was able to do that, you guys, in my very first month. I actually overshot that by a lot. And it was just crazy because we were ignorance on fire. We were so excited about the wraps. And I had no upline that was like local to me. My upline was actually in North Carolina, and she got started 2 weeks before I did, so she knew nothing. And so I didn't have anybody local holding my hand telling me what to do. I reached out to a triple diamond, Maria Napoli, who was also in my upline, and I was just on the phone with her like, what do I say? What do I do? What do I say? And she just always told me, whoever wraps the most tummies makes the most money. Like, okay, well, while Chad was around and not deployed, I could do that. You know, when he was home on his lunch hour or he was home after work, I could go and I could wrap people. And that was great. I went Emerald the first month and Diamond the second month just by putting wraps on people. I didn't work social media. It was all belly to belly, and mostly not wrap parties. It was mostly one-on-one wrap appointments at around lunchtime that I was doing. And we just built value into the products. And it was like, hey, do you want to be a loyal customer or a distributor? Like, we just didn't give anybody there was no choice to opt out of it. You were either a loyal customer or a distributor. I was able to put 50 wraps on people my first month and my second month. And it was because I was signing up those loyal customers and getting those wrap rewards. And I had a constant flow of those wrap rewards coming in, and I was flipping, and I was making so much wrap cash. And so, babe, anytime you want to jump in, I can see you, so you just got to like wave your arms. Go.
I just wanted to share, you kind of brought everyone up to speed where I wanted to kind of kick in. So, we're excited about just a couple months into this business being Diamond, and Jaree had gotten her first bonus, that they had at the time. And we were making a couple extra thousand, and we still were, it was just kind of like a part-time thing we were doing. Well, at that same time, I had to deploy in the Army to Afghanistan, and some things happened. And when I got home, I actually came home early from that deployment, and which was totally awesome because that meant that we were able to go to our first conference. So I'll never forget our first conference in January 2013. There, 1,000 people. I think somebody's
somebody's not muted.
But so 6,000 people at that first conference. I think we had 5 people on our entire team with us, and at the time, Jaree was Diamond at that conference, and I had been Emerald, but I made a mistake at the end of the month, and I didn't order. I needed to order, so I had fallen all the way down to executive because I made a little mathematical error. So I was there like, oh my gosh, I went from Emerald to executive, and that's just where we were when we went to that first conference. But what happened there was Mark Pentecost planted seeds in us, and really just everyone else's stories. And we saw so many. I remember the young couple, the Bowmans. I don't know if you guys have ever met the Bowmans, but Shelby and Tyson Bowman, he was in the military too, and he'd gone away on a deployment. And by the time he got back, he had a brand new truck that was completely paid for. And he's like, "What have you been doing while I was gone?" I mean, right? And I remember hearing all these stories, and then Mark's kind of like did a drop the mic thing at the end, right? Where he said, hey, if you promote to triple, there was no double diamond bonus, but he said, if you promote to triple by March, I'm going to give you this other bonus. And so Jaree was like, do you think we can do that? And I was like, well, other people did it. And, all things are possible through Christ who strengthens us. So it's definitely possible. It's just a matter of, are we going to do it or not? So we came home and we got serious. And what happened is we hit that goal of triple diamond. And then they came out and said, oh, we're going to extend the bonuses one more month, which meant if we went presidential, we could get a bigger bonus that was double our first bonus. And so we worked our butts off again. So over that whole period was exactly 101 days. And our income went so high. And I remember we were making $2,000 after that 101 days, right? So this is from April 2013. Our income between Jaree's income and my income and Networks has never, ever, ever fallen below 20,000. And it was all from that like hardcore push. Most of the leaders on our team right now came from that and are still with us since then, that hardcore 90-day run. So the message, I guess I feel like really sharing with you guys today is your life can change so much in just a short period of time if you're just willing to do what you've never done before and what most people in this company aren't willing to do. That's really the magic sauce. It's just doing what you know how to do and just doing lots and lots of it. We were talking today about steps to success and how is it that some people can do steps to success every week, and then some people have a hard time ever doing steps to success. And the only answer I could come up with any of the leaders I talk to is that people who are doing them every week are just doing 4, 5, 6, 10 times as much activity. So massive activity, massive action leads to massive results. And, that's just so cool that when you figure out your ratio, like maybe for one of you, I don't know if you guys are mostly blitzing or mostly wrap parties or mostly social media or a combination, doesn't really matter. But when you figure out your ratio, like if you figure out you've got to have 4 wrap parties in a month to get your personal steps to success done, now if you had 4 wrap parties in a week, you could get steps to success done every week. Or maybe if you're doing a lot online, maybe you find out that you have to get conversations going back and forth with 357 people to get your steps to success done for the month. Well, now you know what it takes. And so when you figure out what that number is typically for you, because, once you get that number and you figure it out, it tends to continue where you'll at least do as good as you did before. And then you can get better and better and better along the way, and you get to earn while you learn. And that's just the beauty of this. So I'm just excited that you had us on here. We're honored to be the couple that you chose and that you guys decided to get with. And we're here to answer any questions. And
wait, I just wanted to say one more thing before we get into the questions, because here's the thing that I wanted to go into that we missed. Like, it's so important that you are very grounded and that you understand why you're here. Like, you have to have a strong why in this business. Before we went to that conference that Chad was talking about, he had deployed. So I was in the business maybe 2.5, 3 months, and we got the word that he was going to be deploying to Afghanistan. This was going to be my first deployment, so I acted like a huge baby. And when he left, I was just distraught. I mean, I had worked and worked and worked as hard as I could while I was still homeschooling, while he was still working 40, 60 hours a week. And once he left, I felt like my whole world just went, and it went from being balls to the wall to I didn't do anything. I did nothing. I didn't even get on phone calls. I did nothing. And what totally blew my mind, I did nothing, but I still got a paycheck. It was the first time I realized what residual income was. I was like, holy crap, I worked my butt off. I haven't done anything now, and I'm still making a diamond paycheck. Like, that's insane. Well, while he was deployed, our youngest son, Elijah, he was 2 at the time. And like I told you, he's autistic. He had always been sickly his whole little life. And in the middle of the night, I guess it was 11 o'clock at night. Now, mind you, this is my 3rd baby. So, you have your first and maybe even your 2nd baby. You're like, checking, making sure they're breathing. You go in and you check on them, right? By the 3rd baby, you're like, you'll be fine. The Lord will take you if he's going to take you. Well, it was about 11 o'clock at night. And I just felt the Lord kind of nudge me and say, go check on him. And I knew it was God, because I'd never checked on him ever before that late at night. And so I went up to his room and I cracked his little door, and I could smell blood. It just had that smell, that iron smell. And I can remember turning the light on and walking in there, and he was completely covered in blood. And I opened his diaper and blood was pooling out both sides. And so I called 911. We got in the ambulance. They're transfusing blood into him because he's bleeding out faster than they can get it in. And it's just a scary situation. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand the story behind why we have this no quit grit attitude. And I just remember when I was riding in the ambulance with my baby, and they were telling me that there was a slim to none chance that he was going to make it because he was so far gone at that point. I just remember thinking I felt so helpless, and I felt so like imprisoned almost and trapped, because I couldn't even call my husband and say that our baby was like, there was no way I could contact him. So I'm posting on Facebook begging for prayer because I didn't know if my child was going to live. And that's how Chad ended up finding out about us being in the hospital, was through Facebook. And thank God we got him to Vanderbilt Children's Hospital in Nashville, and he had the life-saving surgery that he needed to have. He was born with an extra piece of tissue of skin on his stomach, in his intestines, and it started bleeding. And the Meckel's diverticulum is just some kind of a issue where they start bleeding randomly, and his just happened to start that night. And I'm so thankful, you guys. I don't know where your relationship is with God, but I'm telling you right now that if it weren't for him nudging me to go check on him, my son wouldn't be here today, and we wouldn't have made it to the conference that Chad was just talking about. So because of the severity of our son's condition and the surgery, the Red Cross was able to get Chad home, and he was able to come home 3 months after he deployed. And then God even orchestrated that he would have a job back here so that he didn't have to go back to Afghanistan with the rest of his unit. And so we were able, this happened in December, and conference that year was in January. So here we were, he was supposed to be gone for a whole year, and he was able to come back to some really crappy circumstances. But thank God, I mean, when I look back on it, he was born with this condition, Elijah was, and he could have started bleeding 6 months before Chad left or 6 months after he got home. I mean, it was inevitably going to happen. But God allowed it to happen and then prompted me to go check on him so that his life could be saved, and it brought my husband home, which was an answer to so many other prayers in our household, that he was able to be here for Christmas and
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Wow.
My other two kids didn't know I was going to make it. And, you know, I'll throw in my 2 cents here, but what was crazy is I have this picture, and this gives me unlimited fuel, because that is the picture that if I feel tired or I feel like I don't want to make that last phone call, I don't do anything, I just remember how bad I didn't want to be in the Army in that moment. I remember being 7,000 miles away, learning about all this on Facebook, thinking I want to go home right now. But because of my commitment to the military, because I had soldiers, because I was an officer, I had to stay an extra day, and I had to, you know, go fill out some paperwork and fly the wrong direction. And I had a long flight home to really think about life and just think to myself, life's too short. I'm not going to blow it. So, you know, and just fast forward 5 years later, I kind of had a huge aha moment today, because I'm here. Obviously, I'm not Melody McFarland, but I'm at the McFarland's house right now. I mean, this is their office. Check this out. So this is cool. Their house is amazing. I'm helping with the boot camp. They're running the boot camp this weekend, so we came over to set up sound and all that. But I'm here today, and Blair's like, you want to go get on the boat? I'm like, sure. And I've got my boys with me because we homeschool, so my boys are getting pulled behind the boat, and I'm sitting there on the boat, and my youngest son got on there. He's never been on a raft before, and he's getting pulled by the boat. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, there's no one else out here on a Wednesday in the afternoon on a boat. And it's because of this business. It's because of what we've been able to build in a short period of time. I mean, most people, you got to go 40 plus years to think about retiring on half of what you're used to making, right? And we can work this business, work our butt off for 3 to 5 years and change our life completely. In vacation, I mean, I know 2014 or 15 was one of those years. Jaree and I went on like 14 mini vacations. We were just flying all over to boot camps and going to Florida like 5 times a year. And it was just nuts. So whatever success looks like for you, it's totally possible. And you know what we're getting at with the why, it's the word why means one thing, but when you can develop some strong emotions, right, that are attached to your why. You know, like I heard the story one time. Well, I'll tell you 2 quick ones. The first story is a woman asked her husband for $10, and he said, no. And she said, I'm never going to ask my husband for $10 again. I'm going to do something and make my own money. And so she became massively successful. Another story I love is a guy gets the doorbell, and the doorbell rings, and he opens the door, and a little girl's selling Girl Scout cookies. And she's like, does a great presentation. She asks him to buy, and he wants to buy, and he doesn't have any money, so he does the only thing he could think of and lies to her and says, I still have Girl Scout cookies from the last girl. And when she left, he says, I will never be in this situation again. I will never want to buy Girl Scout cookies and not be able to afford it. How did I get here? So what I can tell you guys all is once you make that decision of what your why is and what you want, and you go for it, right? You make that decision. You're like, I'm going to climb this mountain, or you're going to find me dead on the side of it because I'm not coming back until I go to the top. When you have that, when you make that decision, then you do all the things it takes, because to have more, you have to become more. And becoming more is things like getting on this Zoom and showing up at events and being teachable, right? And doing the scary thing until it's not scary anymore, and just breaking out of your comfort zone, and all these little things that you hear from everybody all the time about. They're all so important. And it's those little 1% tweaks. You guys know if you improve 1/3 of 1% every day, right? That's just a little tiny bit. You get a little bit better. You do a Facebook Live when you don't feel like it, right? You make a phone call when you don't feel like it. You just improve that 1/3 of 1%. After a year, you've changed 100%. In 5 years, when you look back, you don't even recognize your former self because you've been intentional about growing. And if you will change, then everything will change for you. And that's just the truth. So, but we're all yours, Tanis. Ask away. We would love to answer any questions that your team has and do what we can do to help you guys out.
Wow, you guys, that gave me goosebumps, you guys. I'm like sitting here crying, looking at Jaree's face, your face.
We had to show the picture. I'm fine.
I know. Here I am. I see the picture. I'm like, oh my gosh. I didn't know that about your story at all. And don't you just so agree that the people that do well in this business, they have such a strong why, like you said. And you have to almost, I know for me, when I started this business, I was at the lowest low of my life. And I needed this so bad. And I had to get to diamond. Like we needed the income. And so, you know, not everybody joins for the income. I know for me, of course, I wanted to join, you know, because I didn't want to go back to work, and, you know, and we really needed the income. We had so much debt and everything. But a lot of people join for other reasons. I totally understand that. But I feel any reason why you join this business, you're joining for a reason, right? And you have to, if your why doesn't make you cry. I did a boot camp this past weekend, and that's what everyone said that was super successful. If your why does not make you cry, you know, you need a stronger why, right? So thank you so much for sharing that, you guys. That I'm like sitting here like shaking. I can't even imagine, right? But you know, one thing that one of my girls was asking me, actually a couple of the girls were asking, when you feel like you're having a slump in your business, or you don't have the energy, or you're just going through like a rough, you know, week or months. I mean, I know for myself, I've been through that. What gets you out of that? What motivates you to keep pushing forward and, you know, being there for your team, and you keep leading from the front and getting out of your rut?
I love this question because this happens a lot. And so first of all, I just want you to know, as an ambassador diamond, 5 years in the company, I still get in funks. I think you're only human if you don't get in funks. I mean, it just happens. And for me, every time I've gotten in a funk and realized I'm in a funk, because that's the first step, realizing that you're in a funk and that it's just a funk. And I would just force myself, because sometimes it does. It feels like all of a sudden you're in a funk. You don't feel passionate about what you're doing. And so it's like, okay, the number one way to get out of a funk is to just get back into activity mode. So I will get on my phone and I will just start messaging people. I do most of my stuff is online now. And I do just start messaging. And then that first yes that I get, that first customer, that first distributor that signs up, it's crazy. Instantly, whoop, I'm back. Oh yeah, I got it. I'm back. And then I'm out of my funk. That's literally all it takes. And it's a common thread. Like, so I would say to any one of you that are in a funk right now, it's because you're not doing enough activity. You need to take the products, make sure you're a product of the product. That was a big thing for me. I was like, why am I not excited about this anymore? I know these products work, and then I'm like, well, maybe it's because I haven't taken any of them for like 6 months. And so I'm like, that's it. I'm going to get my body back. I'm going to not look like I ate too many burritos, and I'm going to use the supplements that I know work. And so I started a month ago. This is funny, you guys. A month ago, I started doing this consistently, and I've lost 12 pounds in 30 days. Just by doing nothing other than adding in the supplements. I haven't changed my diet. I haven't changed my exercise routine. I am just taking the supplements. And guess what happens when you start using the products and they really work? You get excited. And all of a sudden you're out of your funk again, because you remember why you fell in love with these products. And so sometimes we work so hard and we're consistent with our business that we forget to be consistent with other things in our lives. I'm guilty of that. I'm so red. I'm sure you guys know the color personalities. I'm so red. Like, there's not much of any other color in there. And I get so driven and balls to the wall working my business that a lot of other things fall to the side, like my health. And so now I'm just making a conscious effort. Like, we have to be a product to the product. It's just like if you're in the retail industry, you wear what you sell. And so that would be, I guess, my two things, babe. What do you want to say?
Well, all I would say is getting in a funk from time to time is totally normal. So don't beat yourself up about it. It's just part of life. I mean, think about it this way. Did you ever get in a funk before it works? I'm sure you did. I mean, do you ever get in a funk just because I'm sure some of you have multiple kids? You ever wake up some days and just go, man, I wish I didn't have to deal with all these kids today. I didn't have to do all this and get them ready and do all these things and wake up early, right? Or if you're working a full-time job, do you ever wake up and go, this job sucks. I don't even want to go today, right? But you got to drag your butt up out of bed and go anyway most of the time. So it's normal. We're human beings. We have emotions. And so what you want to do, though, and one of the best pieces of advice as far as this I've ever heard of is let your emotions in the car, but never let your emotions in the driver's seat. Because if you let your emotions in the driver's seat, you can make some big mistakes in relationships and in your business or whatever that takes a while to unravel. So just be aware of that. And like Jaree said, normally the best way to get out of a funk is just work your way out of it. I mean, anytime you talk to any creative person, whether it's Picasso or Mozart or Beethoven or anybody, I don't know which, it's one of those I think that quoted something to this effect, but they basically said they would work every single day, whether they felt like it or not. And then in the act of working, the feelings would come later. So what a funk is it's a feeling, right? It's a feeling of, I don't feel like doing anything. I'm in a funk. So some people have, seasonal depression. And so part of it is just taking your control back. Part of it's waking up in the morning and maybe you feel a certain way, but you say, you know what? I'm going to be thankful right now. I'm going to think about all the things. In the Army, we called it hunting the good stuff. So you wake up in the morning and you don't feel like getting out of bed. So you start hunting the good stuff and you start thinking, hey, my toes still wiggle. My little baby girl just came in and jumped up and down on the bed. My little kitty cat came and snuggled me and is purring in my ear. And what happens is you start to work your way out of the funk because you're focusing on the things that you like about your life and not the things that you don't like. Because the things that we focus on, we magnify them. So we can look at a little tiny thing that's what I would call like an insignificant part of our life. And we can magnify it and make it this huge monster problem that just gets us in all a tizzy versus keeping the things that matter. So I would just say, stay focused on, the long term and where you want to go. And, I love that. And sometimes it takes some sort of event. Like for us, it shook us up with our son. You hear a lot of times that like the people who have heart attacks become some of the healthiest people in the world. Heart attack survivors. Why? Because they go, oh, I don't want to die. I need to make an extreme change right now. Right. And we just got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was in the Army and I love the Army until you have 3 kids and you're missing your wife and you're planning birthday parties that you can't go to. And your kids have a little daddy doll at home with like a little doll with your picture poked in their face so they can look at you at night so they don't forget what you look like. And after a while, you just kind of go, man, I could choose something different. I don't have to do this for the rest of my life. And another 10 years wasn't going to work for us. So we just said, hey, let's pour ourselves into it. It works. And it worked. So that would be, and Mike Patillo has, if you guys Google it, if you Google Mike Patillo Jump the Funk, he's got like a part series. It's really good. And that can help you too.
And thank you guys so much. And I just have a couple things I'm reading here that some of the girls have asked me and some of the guys. What is one thing, I had one of my girls, how did you realize, when did you really realize that, okay, like, wow, like this business is life-changing? Because I feel like I watched someone for a year. So when I joined, I went to conference, like at that time I had like 3 customers. So I got there and I felt like I had the vision because not only did I need it so bad, but I watched this girl on social media. I didn't comment. I just like stalked her. Like I stalked Jaree's Facebook. Like I know her posts and stuff, but like, I don't like her comment. We're not, we're friends now. We're best friends now, but you know what I mean? Like how the biggest thing in this business, as you guys know, is the vision. Like if you don't believe in yourself, one of my girls said today, she's like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm worthy. And I said, okay, well, right there, you have to stop that. You have to believe that you're worthy. You have to believe that your family or your future family, your kids deserve this. So when did you really realize that, like, wow, what you got your hands on? Because I know for me, my business took off fast, but because I was doing massive action. I honestly feel like I haven't really stopped. maybe a little bit this summer. I've been going through a lot of life. But like Jaree said, like there's times that you're allowed when you've worked so hard in this business that, like even like you said, you kind of stopped and you're still getting your paycheck, right? I'm not telling people to stop working their business, but when did you really realize like, wow, like this is life changing? Like you guys are in the Millionaires Club. I'm sure, I know you guys are doing very, very well. When did you really realize like, holy crap, this is insane? Because what we have our hands on, the compensation.
Okay, so we know that whenever we went to our first conference, okay, so Elijah he had a surgery, he was healed, and then we went to that very first event. Okay, so I just want to be honest. I went there kicking and screaming. I remember Chad's like, we need to go to this event. And I was like, whatever. I could never be more into It Works than I already am. Like, I don't need the rah-rah. I had gone to a company event with him for another company that he was in, and it was all like suits and flashy and slimy sales techniques. And I was like, nah, I don't need to go. Like, I'm good. He's like, will you just go for me? And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go for you. And when we got there, now mind you guys, I am such an introvert. It cracks me up to look back at who I was 5 years ago. The fact that I'm on here talking to you without like drinking a tequila bottle with a nipple is like, it's mind blowing. Like seriously, I remember one time I was supposed to be on a call for social media and the one girl didn't show up. So I was going to run it and I freaked out. I threw the phone at Chad and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I threw it at him and I locked myself in my closet and made him do it. And he had no clue what the call was about. He just winged it. Okay. So I was scared to death of my own shadow. So anyway, all that to say, so here I am sitting at this event and I'm totally an introvert. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do much more with this business, but I'll go. Like a couple extra $1,000 was great for us. But we wanted to kind of see, like, could we do more? And when we got there, this is the power of being at that kind of an event, is that I started seeing the top 100 walk across the stage and stop, and that some were talking. And there were women that were standing up there, and they were shaking so hard with the microphone that you could hear it thumping in their hand, but yet they were up there, and they were in the top 100. And I was like, well, holy crap, if she can do this, surely I can muster it up and do this. And it was just each day that we were there and all the different panels that we watched. And it was just like God allowed this supernatural belief to get in us. And I just remember at one point in conference after Mark had announced the Triple Diamond Good Bonus, I looked at Chad and I was just like, do you think that we can really do this? Like, can I go from diamond to triple in 2 months? And he's like, yeah, through Christ, all things are possible. So yeah, we can. And you guys, massive action. Yes, that's exactly what we knew we were headed into. We knew that we were going to have to set our hobbies to the side. We knew that date nights were going to take a back seat. Chad was still active duty in the Army at this time. So they still owned his butt. He was married to the Army he was married to the Army more than he was me. But any free time that we had, we worked the business. We were getting on calls with people. We were just laser focused, and it was all out massive action. And I will add to that when we went to our first event, it was Chad and I and 2 other couples. So we didn't have like 50 people that went to our first event. It was 2 other couples. And guess what? One went diamond. The other one is a presidential diamond on my team. So that's just the power of going to those types of events, because that belief is able to get instilled inside of you. So babe, what do you want to add?
I was just going to say that when you go to those events, you get the proof, you get the evidence that it's possible for you to do it too, because you'll see someone there that's less confident. You might feel like you're not confident at all. You'll see someone there that's less confident, or maybe you're introverted and you'll see someone there and believe that they're more introverted than you, or that you're not educated and you'll meet someone there that's even less educated than you, or fill in the blank, right? And so it's the evidence of a conference where it takes away all of our excuses, because literally it evens the playing field. When you go home that you have access to the same products, you have access to the same customer service, the same corporate, right? The same compensation plan. And so it really all boils down to, what are we willing to do? Are we willing to do what it takes to get to where we want to go? And when like I was saying earlier, when you take your power back, when you realize that you can only control what you can control. You guys can recruit 1 million people, but you can't control what any one of those 1 million people do. But what can you control? You can control who you're talking to every day. You can control the amount of exposures that you're getting every day, the amount, we like to say that we educate the masses and we collect their decisions. That's what this business is all about, letting people know what It Works is and then educating them on what it is so they can make an educated decision whether they want to be involved or not, and then just collecting the decisions and not caring, really not focusing on the yeses or the nos, focusing on the numbers of people you're educating. Yes. Because you're going to have lots of both. You have lots of yeses and you're going to have lots of nos. And it's just a matter of, for a lot of times, getting out of our own way. And what I'll say is the other thing that conference does is most people, when they join this business, they're at a zero for most of their beliefs. And there's 4 areas that you want to really build people when they join or when you join yourself. So number 1 is the products. You'll see all the time someone who joins and they're like pinky toe in the water. They rap one time. They have great results. And now they're like on fire. They're rolling loyal customers left and right. Well, what changed? Well, they have excitement and enthusiasm now because they believe their belief level went so high in the products. Well, when someone goes to conference and you get to see, you get to hear and see who Cindy is and Mark and their family. And you're like, oh my gosh, all this gives back. And you start to really believe in the company and you want to be part of the company because they're going somewhere amazing. Now your belief goes way up. Now you're like, It Works is awesome. And you're shouting it from the mountaintops because now you believe that. So you're sharing it. Same with the industry. You start working and you start to understand the comp plan and you start to make some leveraged income and some residual income. Leverage is when you get paid and you don't know why. That's called leverage, guys. When you sign someone up who signs someone up and they're signing loyals and you're getting paid and you don't know why. I mean, come on. I was talking to someone the other day, the minute you join It Works, you can earn money 5 different ways. That's so much better than going out and getting 5 different jobs that each pay one way. And people do that. People go get 5 part-time jobs. I'm like, get rid of all that, get one career, one business, It Works, and start earning money all 5 ways every month. I mean, if we just focused on that, just earning money all 5 ways the company will pay you every single month, I mean, that stuff adds up quick. And then the last piece is just believing in ourselves. And the only way we're going to believe in ourselves is building our belief in those different areas and getting around people who believe in you and then are loaning some of their belief in you and giving you time to believe in yourself. And it just takes time. And like I said, if you're just working a little bit on yourself, doing personal development, growing, stretching your mind, then you get more confident and you get more courage and you get more boldness. And those are more grit. And those are all things that are so helpful with getting you to what your goal is.
I love that. Thank you guys so much. Another thing that a couple of the girls were asking me is, how do you typically work your business? I know, Jaree, you said you work a lot on social media, and I love that you have such a supportive husband. Mine actually wasn't the supportive husband. He was just like, okay, you need to see the income happen, right? He wanted to see, he wanted to see me get to like double diamond and that didn't happen right away. And I think a lot of times people think they're going to join this business. We all have it. We all have those people who join the business and they expect to get to ambassador in 1 month, right? They expect to put a couple posts up on Facebook and, and then take a week off, right? And not wrap anyone and not get on Zooms or corporate calls. I mean, I still get on as many Zooms and calls and the Sunday night, the show me the money calls. I mean, you can't force people. I always tell my team, like, you can't force people to get on, right? But as long as you are getting on there and doing your job, you're going to attract what you want in your business. So how do you typically work your business?
Like I said, I do the majority online now, and I've just gotten really good at building relationships on there. Constantly seeking out, like, I'm really, really picky in particular about the people that I send a friend request to now. And I'm looking, like, I'm actively every single day sending out new friend requests, and I'm looking at profiles. Like, I'm not just going through and seeing pretty faces. Like, I'm actually looking at their profile and I'm like, okay, she's already posting inspirational things. She's already knows how to post a really cute selfie, and I'm looking at their engagement. Like, do they get 20 plus likes on their stuff? And so I'm just like scoping out. Chad likes to say that we are talent scouts. And then once they accept, starting to build a relationship with them. It doesn't have to take long for you to build a relationship. Like, you can become friends with somebody and blitz them online the same day. It's all about how you approach it and what you do. I am not a fan of spamming people and just randomly sending people messages about It Works. However, if you can walk up face to face and blitz somebody that you've never met before, then you can blitz somebody you've never met before or just talked to on the first day and on social media. You just have to do it tactfully. And so for me, I add them as friends. I maybe like a couple of their posts, and then I inbox them like, oh my gosh, girl, I just looked through just totally stalked your page. Your wedding photos are so adorable. Like, great job. Kudos to your photographer. So do you work from home, or where do you work? You know, like, I just ask leading questions. I'm always asking them questions that I want them to ask me what I do. At the end of the day, if I can get them to say, oh, what do you do? Then if it's an open invitation for me to say, oh my gosh, I actually work for a health and wellness company called It Works Global. Have you ever heard of us before? You know, and you just are constantly asking questions, and it can be really casual. It does not have to be weird or spammy. And that's how, pretty much that's what I do. I work my business. I was kind of a Facebookaholic before It Works. So now I can at least make money when I'm on there. So yeah, sending messages, following up. That's what I do.
So I try to keep Jaree freed up where she can be the front end of the business, you know,
okay.
recruiting.
And you help more like behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of the training for our team. I'm doing when there's a squabble or an issue happening, I'm the one helping to resolve that. Just organizing things and keeping things like that. And so I try, my goal is always to keep Jaree freed up so she can stay focused on recruiting new distributors and sign up new loyal customers. I do a lot of 3-way calls with our team.
Okay.
But I like to keep her time, because I know she's so good at that if I can keep her focused on that, she can recruit, she can recruit on demand. Basically, it's just a matter of getting in front of people and finding new people and enrolling in as customers or distributors. So that's kind of how we've always worked. And that's just worked really, really good for us with our personalities and what goes good for us.
I know Michelle was saying here, a couple of the girls were saying, getting their spouses more involved. And I know mine just retired back in May, and he went from not really being supportive, and then, hey, when I was like, okay, I'm retiring you, you're coming home, he was all in, right? So he's really helpful, and he helps me with a lot of like errands and stuff behind the scenes. But I know he wants to help more, and I know a lot of girls in the business, maybe their spouses aren't supportive, or they're trying to get them more involved in the business. I don't see he's good with social media, but he also has another business that he does. But he wants to help more. And what would you recommend, Chad, like how to get spouses more involved and for them to see the vision? And, because this isn't like, look at you and like Joel Dunn and like, all these guys who really do work the business. It isn't just a female business. So what would you recommend? Any tips for like our guys or, spouses in the business?
So the first thing is definitely one size shoe doesn't fit everyone. Everyone has unique giftings.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm yellow and green. So I'm good at organizing things, and I'm good at, loving on people when they're about to freak out, or they're on the edge of the fence and almost ready to quit. Jaree's like, you need to call this girl, because I'm just going to, Jaree's like, I'm not going to talk to her right now. I'm
going to tell her to quit.
Jaree will just say, put your big girl panties on, and kind of, she's got the Pam Souter kind of approach, right? And I'll listen, and when I get off the phone, I'll be like, yeah, she's just going through a low right now. Because that's some personality types. They're high, and then they're low, and they're high, and they're low. And I have patience, and I have grace for that. And I understand it's just a season that someone's walking through. Yeah. So, but like another husband might be someone who wants to be more the front end. Some guys out there are just very, very, they're great at just going out and being social and, building relationships. And they can come home and give their wife 10 brand new phone numbers. So in the beginning, and here's a great way you can do that, help your man have some pictures, some before and after pictures in his phone, like of you, right? Yeah. Of people on your team, of his mom or his sister or people. Like for me, in the beginning, I had Jaree's picture in my phone, my sister's picture, and my mother-in-law's picture in my phone. And I would just go out and I would say, have you heard of It Works yet? And they'd be like, no, because no one had heard of it. And I'd say, you guys see what this does. This is our number one selling product. I just learned about it. Have you even seen anything like this? And they're like, no. And then here's the key question. Who do you know, right? Who do you know that for $25 would want to see what their results look like? And then that opened it up. And I wasn't saying, you need this. I just looked at your stomach. You need a 2 full treatments right now. I mean, it was totally indirect approach, right? Because guys get weird about nervous and they don't want to get slapped, bottom line. You don't want to make some woman feel like she's big or small or anything. So I would say, who do you know? I'm spreading the word in the area. Who do you know that would want to try one of these for just $25? We can go to your house. My wife can go to your house. You can come to our house, whatever's easiest, any of your friends. And then they would say, oh, everyone I know. And I would say, oh my gosh, you know a lot of people? Yeah, well, you could actually make money by sharing this too. Or they might say, oh, me, I need a whole truckload of those things. And I'd be like, I know a lot of people that need a whole truckload of these things, and they're awesome, and you're going to love them. So let me get your phone number, and I'll pass it on to my wife. It's so easy when you do it a couple times for guys just to, in a non-weird way, right, to just get names and numbers and just pass them on to you guys. So that's one way, but you might have a husband who doesn't even like to talk to anybody, and he's not going to want to do that. So you got to know what would be okay. And for him, some of your husbands might be great sitting at home and organizing emails and sending out follow-ups and following up with your loyal customers and maybe even working your social media accounts and saying, now I've done that before, hey, doll. But it's like, I'm Jaree.
We all need a Chad. We all need a Chad. Everyone's saying that. We all need Chad.
So I would just say, hey, hon, ask your husband, have a little talk with him, say, here's what I need. Does any of this interest you, or what are some ideas you have of how you can help out?
One of the things that you can do too is have your husband take the color test. Okay.
Yes.
Because that will help you identify what some of his strengths are. And then you can, if he's green, then he's going to be great in the back office. Like you let him.
That's mine. Yes.
So you want to give them, and so if you want your husbands to come on board, the number one thing is you want them to take ownership of the business. And the only way that they're going to take ownership of the business is if you relinquish some of the control and let them come in and do their thing. And you have to give them permission to make mistakes because you made mistakes when you first started too. But if you
no husband wants your wife to be your boss. Like when I've gotten to that role before, I'm like, I left. I'm self-employed now. I'm actually on your team, so I'm not looking for a boss. And then we've had that talk a few times. But just if you go there,
it can be kind of hard, like in the beginning, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's told me many times that I make a really good drill sergeant.
When's your birthday? Jaree? What's your horoscope?
I'm December baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. We've had that talk, many times, and I'm like, yeah, the Army prepared me for Jaree as my wife, and it's all good.
That's awesome.
A lot of it is partnering up and just asking your husband, just having that conversation. And if you look at like a corporation, right?
Yeah.
You have your marketing department, you have your follow-up department, you have your customer service department, and just kind of maybe even draw it on paper, all the different things that need to happen in the business, and say, hey, honey, which couple of these things would you like to do? Which couple of these things would be fun for you? And then let them run with that lane. Like if your husband's green, say, oh, that's so awesome. I need you to track my last month. My group volume was this much. The goal by the end of this month is here. How much should I be at right now? And he'll be like, be like, oh, honey, you're 300 BV behind where you need to be on the 5th of the month. We need to get some more customers in. Bam. Now he's helping keep you on track. And now he's doing that same thing. He's reaching out to your team and helping them have a game plan, like a daily and a weekly game plan. So just different things like that can be so helpful for people.
Let me type it in the chat for you because it's a link and then you guys.
One other thing I was going to ask you, I know I appreciate you guys, your time so much. I know we're coming up here on, for over 45 minutes, but one thing I was going to ask you, is there one thing that you can share with my team that was really like your aha moment? I mean, I know for me, honestly, was getting to conference, like just joining right away. And like, one of you guys did really stick out to me because, hearing your story and, a lot of time people are going to relate, to your struggle over your success. Right. And, I love hearing these, stories like yours that, you went from a really hard time and now hearing about your son and just all the struggles. And don't you agree that the people who really, really fight for this are the ones that I know for me, I got to Diamond and, I thought everyone would keep carrying on with me, but people quit, right? Or people don't ever work the business, or, these 999 people who came in, we all thought they were all going to work the business, right? Wouldn't that be great, right? But what's one thing that you can say, because I always talk about this a lot, that if you come into this business, you are ready to fight you know, you can go ambassador, but you can't just join and expect to kind of half-ass your business and expect results. What's one thing that you could really say? Because you know what, people I think forget sometimes that this is like a life-changing business if you really go all in. You know, you don't want to just, you don't just work it when you feel like it, because then we'd never accomplish anything. So what's one thing that you could kind of say, you know, that to kind of end this off and really, you know, say that would really keep you into this business and fight for, you know, your goals and your dreams?
Okay, so I would say, first of all, it's imperative that you not get emotionally attached to anyone's decision. At the end of the day, your job is to educate people on what we have and to continue to follow up with them. If they say no, you can't take it personal. Like it's important to develop what Chad and I like to call rhino skin, so that whenever you feel that rejection, the sting of it, it becomes less and less, because you just realize that it's all just part of the process. We know that it takes an average of 7 to 21 exposures for someone to finally say yes to a business like this or to using the products. And so keeping that in mind helps you not get upset. And before I let Chad take this over, I would also say that it's also important that you understand your worth. The world wants to beat us down. And as women, especially, there's mostly women on here, we tend to be our own worst critics, right? We're always constantly so self-critical. And the moment that I realized I was worthy of success, and it just so happened to be while I was in It Works, was the moment that everything changed for us. It was when I had said the words, I am an ambassador diamond, I am presidential diamond, and I was just saying them at first, but as I spoke them over myself, like physically spoke them, the belief started to take root. And through all of that, God was just really peeling back the layers in me, because there was so much abuse in my past, so much feeling of shame and unworthiness, and never feeling like I was going to amount to anything. But you guys, look, I mean, if you get nothing else from this Zoom with us, I hope you get the fact that my life was a train wreck. I have an insanely colorful past. I still struggle. Thank God I have a Chad. Because you guys, if I had to go ambassador diamond on my own, and when I get into the back office and words just start melting together and I can't chart. That is so hard for me because of my learning disability. But thank God that he took this mess, and I'm not arrived, because I'm still getting work done, but thank God he took my mess and made it a message. Thank God that he's given us this vehicle of It Works to use. And then now I'm able to share from a platform that, guess what? I worked hard to become an ambassador diamond, but at the end of the day, God elevated us to this level. And he's no respecter of person. So if he'll elevate me to share my story, then he's going to elevate you too. But you have to have that belief, has to come in. It starts with you believing in you. And if you don't believe it right now and you have a really hard time believing that you're worthy of success, and that's okay, because there's a lot of people like Tanis that are here, and she believes in you for you. She believes in you enough for you, even if you don't right now. But when you start speaking it out loud over yourself, that I am worthy, I am a child of God, God loves me, I am successful, I am ambassador diamond, I'm double diamond, I'm whatever. And you begin to speak those things over yourself, all of a sudden, one day, you start to believe it. And I'm here to tell you that I was a complete and total mess even 5 years ago. And I cannot believe where I am today. And I would have done this with It Works. I would go back and do it all over again, even if I knew it wasn't going to make me any money, because of the person I've become in the last 5 years. So I'll leave you with that, babe. It's all yours.
Man, that is so good. And you know, that's what's so important. I heard a long time ago to set a goal to become a millionaire. And I was like, well, maybe everyone doesn't want to have $1 million, but most people, you know, wouldn't turn it down. But basically the point of it was this: set a goal to become a millionaire, not for the money, but for the person it will make of you to achieve it. for the skills that you have to develop, for the confidence that you're going to have, for the better version of you that you're going to become, to be able to attract the people into your business that are going to help you do that. So one thing I wanted to share today is if you've never heard of a guy, he's not alive anymore, but his name's John Wooden. Okay, John Wooden was a legendary college basketball coach back in like the 70s, and just, he went like a 3-year run and didn't lose any games and just was amazing. And if you Google John Wooden, you can Google John Wooden's Success Pyramid, and you can see this little pyramid and what he taught his players, the foundations of success and how he taught his players. It's really good. But I love this. Here's his definition of success, because for some people, success you might think in your head, my children growing up and being married and having a good life and giving me 7 grandchildren, that's success, right? Or it might be a certain amount of money in your bank account, that's success. Or just being happy, that's success. Well, what he said is success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you did your best to become the best you are capable of becoming. And I love that so much. I love his definition of success so much, because what it basically means, and I believe this, is that if we can go to bed at night and look at our day and go, man, I'd put in an honest day's effort. I did the best that I could. I was the best parent I could be. I was the best spouse I could be. I was the best business owner, the best friend. I did everything to the best of my ability. Then that's winning, right? That's peace of mind. That's where peace of mind will come from, is being productive in life. Versus, and try it sometime. Do a 3-day Netflix binge, and then at night ask yourself how you feel about that. And you'll probably be like, I suck, right? I did accomplish nothing. I did nothing. But here's what I'll leave you with, is the scripture. And I love this scripture. I've been spending a lot of time on it, because here's the deal. The main difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is discipline. You have to be disciplined. Most people are not disciplined. That's why they work when they feel like it. They don't when they don't feel like it. And it's like anything in life, guys. It's not just it works. You could go to real estate school, become a realtor, and only a small percentage of people that graduate real estate school ever sell one home. You could go join a gym, and only like 5% of people that join a gym are working out consistently 3 months later. I mean, it doesn't matter. Fill in the blank, whatever it is. But here's what the Bible says. The Bible says, Hebrews 12:11 says, no discipline is pleasant but painful. Well, yeah, that's why most people don't do it, right? We don't like pain. We run from pain. We're taught when we grow up, if it hurts a little bit, go the other direction. Don't raise your hand in class and answer a question if you might be wrong, because people might look at you funny or say something. So we're like, oh, we're not even going to try. And we just kind of create this little circle in this box where we're just trying to please everyone else, and we'll never find peace in another person's head. So it says, no discipline is pleasant but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who are trained by it. And I love that. So the key here is the pain happens. It either happens now through discipline, or it happens later through regret. And there's no way to escape. It's going to happen. So my decision is, I would rather be 95 years old, in the old folks home, looking around being like, I went for it. I tried. I failed 100 different things, but when I felt like I was supposed to do, I went for it, and not be the guy that's laying there going, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but didn't. And man, if I could just have my youth back, I would have done so many things differently. So the last thing I'll leave you with is, if you were to just close your eyes, I'm not gonna have you all do it right now, this takes a few minutes, but if you were to close your eyes and just think, okay, 60 years has gone by, right? And you're at a funeral, and you go and you look in the casket, and and for however you see yourself there, right? You see yourself. You're at your own funeral. You see yourself there, and they call up your children, and they say, what do you want? What do you have to say about your mom? And you get to hear everything they have to say, right? They call up your spouse. What do you have to say? You hear everything they say. Your grandchildren. How do they talk about you? How does your best friends in life talk about you? Think about what you want that to sound like, and go to work tomorrow on ensuring that place is full, because you've changed so many people's lives. You've touched so many people's lives. You've poured your heart into so many people that they're going to need a big, huge church for your funeral, because there's going to be, standing room only. They're going to be going out the door, around the road. And if you can decide that now, and you go to work on that now, guess what? You can guarantee that that's going to be your legacy. And so that's what's so exciting. It's called begin with the end in mind. That exercise comes out of a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Amazing book by Stephen Covey. Get a chance to read it. But that's the deal, right? We're all here, and we're gonna go somewhere, and eventually we're all gonna die. So why not make it worthwhile while you're here and do the best that you can and get better every day? And don't compete with other people. Just compete with yourself. You know, if you're not very disciplined right now, if you're like, man, I did my products for 4 days in a row, that's my record. Well, go to work on doing it 5 days in a row, and then go for 6. And eventually you might hit like a whole month and change your life completely. But just do what you can, do the best you can, and just keep fighting, keep getting on these Zooms, keep learning a little bit. And I'm just excited. Thanks for having us, Tanis, and just appreciate you choosing us and that we got to spend a little time with you guys.
Wow, thank you guys so much. You guys, that was just amazing. And you know what, honestly, Jaree, and you know, Chad, of course, you're wonderful too, but I will tell you, Jaree, honestly, you're one of the reasons I fought in my business, especially in the beginning. And I am just so grateful for this Zoom. And I just want my team to know that, you know, honestly, if I didn't fight, maybe my whole team wouldn't be here, right? I'm not saying you guys are all here because of me, but, you know, honestly, I feel like your business can change so quickly, you know, based on whether you're ready to make that decision and then just take massive action and just not give up. So I appreciate you guys so much. I'm upset I'm not going to Nashville because I want to give you a big hug, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to meet you guys in person. So
there's always going to be another event that we can meet at. And
yes, exactly.
Big, huge hug. And you guys,
amazing. I'm like shaky. That was amazing. Thank you.
You guys that are going to be in Nashville, make sure that you come and find me, okay? Just be like, hey, I was on the Zoom with Tanis, and I would love to meet you and hug you. And I'm really, Tanis, thank you. I'm like bawling because it means so much to me that my story can impact somebody.
Well, you know what, conference and you, and like, just, you know, and like, it changed everything. It really did. You know, I decided I was worthy, and, you know, one of my uplines, Steph, is on here right now, and she got my butt to go to conference. I was like, oh, I don't need to go. What do I need to go for? I can't afford to go, but I made sure I got there. And we always talk about the importance of getting to events, you know, and just, you know, I definitely couldn't afford it, right? But I couldn't afford not to be there, right? And invest in myself, in my business. And, you know, now it's crazy what this has done for our life, you know, and all the other families. And, you know, like, you guys totally understand. And like, you know, it's not just about us and our families. It's about all the other thousands of families that are coming into our business that are going to be here with us till the end. So, and It Works is just getting started. So I'm so excited. So thank you guys again so much. I really appreciate everyone on tonight. And yeah, I'm excited for everything. So thank you guys again so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, honey. Anytime.
Okay. Well, don't say anytime, because I might come message you again to come tomorrow.
I'm okay with that. If you want us to come back from time to time, we'll definitely do that.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you guys so much.
Bye,
Have
guys.
a good night. Bye. Thanks, Chad. Bye.